Hello there, this is Through Spades and welcome to Rogue Planet 2 DevLog 25. Decided to make some patch notes this time, just so I roughly had an idea of, you know, what the fuck I was doing, so here we are. Since DevLog 24 I did the following: add new George model, add new buildings, added another big building that's like Inception, I'll show you that later, added Krampus, added trees, added skyboxes, polished up the surreal puzzle a bit, added 4 new guns, added a new sidewalk, more buildings to the zombie base. Mostly it was building buildings, so that's pretty fun. But added new sidewalk textures, added optimized the crash course LOD and the draw distance. I also removed the sharks because they kept getting stuck and they lagged the game out. I added some dishes, added barrels that explode, added foliage to the Crash Course map that was different than the other one I had. It's the same one as every other map. I don't know why I was using a different one. So I added blood to the city and a few other maps. Made the Office Assault really fucking bloody. And I got busy with like 3 holidays, so I meant to get this out way earlier. Couple that with my computer breaking, thanks to Avast antivirus being a broken piece of shit. Led me to few delays, but otherwise I got that shit back up and working, so good thing I make backups. That's why. That's why you should always make backups. Don't matter if it's Windows, Linux, or fucking Mac OS. Backups are important. So, here we go. And I'm going to show you roughly the models of the stuff that's been done. And this is going to be the broken city. This is going to have some of the buildings, and this is going to have the dishes. Okay, good. We're in. There we go. And I'm also going to go God mode just so I don't get killed, at least not too many times. So this here is the Imp 4. It's a big space M4. Obviously no Halo killer is complete without a gun that has a massive fucking scope, as if Master Chief wasn't compensating for enough already, TV show aside. Here's the sidewalk texture. Decided to fix it up since the other one looked kind of ghetto. There's a bunch of big buildings. So here we are. Big buildings, big normal maps, specular maps, ambient occlusion. Also fixed the road up a little bit. Not too much, because it's still supposed to look abnormally big, because it's, well, you'll find out in the campaign. But here we are. Bunch of trees, too. There we are. Headshot. Short controlled bursts. You figure that out pretty quickly, that firing full auto in ranges like this is going to get you nowhere fast. I would have added a burst, but, you know, that would take the skill out of it. No thanks. But yeah, here we are. We got dynamic, like, God rays that move and actually adjust to where your gun is. You go in here and I'll show you the new dishes. Now there are plates and bowls, but just for the sake of right now, I've only added bowls, and they are Crusader, they are Jesus Christ bowls, they're Illuminati, and they also are Satan bowls, because there's a Satan church and a Christian church in this game that I've added because it's like end of the world voodoo shit and other fun stuff. You know, all this shit colliding. Big sandbox, because you know what? Clearly these games nowadays, they want to do some taboo shit, but they don't want to commit to it anymore. I like taboo shit being in army games, because it's a video game where you shoot each other, so I think all of the offensiveness kind of goes out the window when you're murdering people, so, you know, murder's pretty offensive. I don't think you should put that in a game unless you're willing to commit to it, and if they're not, then, yeah, fuck them, I ain't playing. So anyway, we got some rules here for the big fucking building. They make all manners of plates and dinnerware here, as you see. Glassware, plastic, license, and especially bulletproof plates, which don't work. They got some rules here, so listen up. Rule number 1, do not number 2. Rule number 3, take a shit. Rule number 4, make sure to bring ammo. Rule number 5, if you require assistance, you will not get any. Rule number 6, make sure to feed the sharks or you will be fed to them instead. Rule number 7, do not talk about Fight Club. Rule 8, make sure to read the rules. Yes, make sure to read Gabe Newell. Make sure to read the rules. Number 9 is 9! Number 10, Hail Hydra. Number 11, Illuminati confirmed. Rule 12, this place is not a front, because this is written on the back. Rule 13, God will not save you from me. Rule 14, don't get killed by fish. Rule 15, get wrecked, bitch. And Rule 16, stop reading these rules, he's behind you. Always switch your backup. It's faster than reloading. Oh, he didn't want to live forever, that's why he shot me. Now anyway. Woo! Alright, so, I'm going to show you the other maps as well. We've done... I have done the crash course. Now this has had some optimization done to it. And yes, before you ask, there is going to be a version of the Broken City where you can destroy the big shelves and stuff, so I am going to make destroyed or destructible versions of the other maps, but not much has changed in this map aside from just level of detail stuff. So if you see over here in the distance where that truck is, click on it and highlight it, it'll disappear. And just most of the stuff over there will too, aside from a few static things off there. And most of this is, you know, it pops in, but most of it's hidden by the fog, so I figured it'd be okay. Plus, I mean, if that gets you, when I'm not recording, like 120 frames a second on a 13-year-old computer, do you really care? Probably not. So, just things like that that I've done. I've also added some dirt and grime to the trucks. I've made them look pretty dirty. The road here also, since I've gone in and done a lot of redone a lot of textures in that time since, added more intense normal maps to a lot of the textures, which is why they actually look super bumpy now. Couple that with kind of the level of detail where you can see that objects kind of pop in, but like if you're going to be right here, yeah, you would barely notice unless you're looking at like these fences and stuff back here, and you wouldn't really care too much because, you know, it's performance stuff. But couple that with virtual textures and a bunch of 100 other things, it's just optimizations stacked on top of each other to try and get you a playable frame rate, because I figure, you know, every little bit helps, and if I can help you get this game working on a decade-old computer at 60 frames a second bare minimum, then, you know, that's a win, because now you can have basically potatoes or super cheap computers, thanks to deloading objects up here or something, now capable of playing this video game. So that really lowers the barrier to entry, and I'm sure that something like a Steam Deck or the Steam Machine would be able to play it, especially since it has Vulkan, and I'm sure people want to actually have an affordable computer that isn't like, you know, a NASA computer, but they still want to have good visuals, right? It's not just that they want to have shitty visuals and worse looking games. No, you want that because these new games suck dick and they look like slime. You want something that looks sharp. This is sharp. This is sharp, it's good, and it's presentable. We should at least have modern graphics standards if we're going to be using roughly decade-old or 20-year-old techniques, and I don't think some aesthetic garbage that looks like it's from a, you know, Johnny Test cartoon or some fucking anime counts as acceptable. Even if that's what you're going for, you can do better. If you're doing that and that's all you're doing, you're a lazy piece of shit. I gotta be harsh about it because I'm not seeing good standards from the indie scene either, so it's like, you know, if piracy groups ironically have more fucking standards than most indie studios, then no wonder they keep pirating fucking Ultra Kill when it looks like it was some shit made in the 90s. Or Helldivers, right? No wonder Metal Gear Solid 5 looks fucking better, and Helldivers 2 still looks like a cheap imitation of Starship Troopers. Not even like a compelling parody, just it looks awful and runs like it is too. Oh, well, they only fixed up some of the optimization 3 years after launch. Who cares? I'm not playing the game. It ran like shit and looked like shit. If you don't do it right the first time, nobody cares. It's a matter of attitude. Are you getting your attitude right the first time, or are you going to do it later when no one cares? That's what they tend to do. They do it later when no one cares. So you bring that on yourself. I have the attitude of the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 2 and the original Xbox and the PlayStation 1 and all these consoles before them. Do it right the first time. Because, let's be honest here, even if you got live services, nobody cares. Nobody is going to wait for you to update your shit. So I'm going to do it right the first time. Amen, brother. That's the way it fucking should be. But anyway, in the Three of Spades map, I've also added some new buildings. It's just upside down stuff. The stuff's more optimized. The frame rate runs a lot better. Little quick things like that. Let me show you the office assault. We're gonna tick that box and tick this one here. They also have little conversations and like little bits of chats in here. So throughout this map, some of the blood is kind of reflective, and you can see how the steam is all over the walls and stuff. And I'm just not seeing this in new games. It's like you have all this technology, but you can't make compelling or convincing particle systems or weather anymore. I mean, that shouldn't be something that's just relegated to early 2010s video games. So if nobody's gonna step up, I'm gonna. Look at this, you know, their feet, when they get their feet in the blood actually goes on to their model. It's a simple thing that I used to see in Battlefield games, and I mean, I think Battlefield still does it better than me, but I'd rather put it in there a little bit and actually try than it just not bother. You know, I'm not going to do something like footsteps, because that would be kind of intensive on the CPU, and since I'm aiming for potatoes and, you know, like 100 frame rate on a 13-year-old computer, or little details like those I'm going to pass on, but I am going to put others in, like big walls of steam and, you know, fog and other fun stuff, or big reflective blood smears on walls, and you know, just stuff like that, I think. Also up here there are laser sharks, and they did eat the fish, so they get along with the jellyfish, though. The jellyfish are just fine, all fine and dandy, but the laser sharks decided to eat George and George too. Or not George, it was John and John too. Speaking of George, let me show you George. George has gotten a new model. And this is courtesy of Dylan. The building models are courtesy of my friend Dylan as well. Dylan has been doing some great work on this, and I'm pretty impressed with what he's managed to do here. But yeah, this is George. You may remember him from the loading screen of Rogue Planet 1, those of you who did play Rogue Planet 1. This is his more lore-accurate model, I suppose. The other one was kind of just a placeholder with a custom texture, so that was because Game Guru decided it didn't want to load shit, so I figured, okay, well, I might as well do some work, because if it doesn't want to allow me to actually import custom models, because importing custom models has an undocumented hidden memory leak. Well, you know, if this engine says it's not for coders and it's no coding required, then if coding is required to make it work, you've failed to deliver on what your engine does, and I had to pay the price for that, so I'm just not going to deal with it. I'm not going to deal with assholes who want to be, you know, smart ass about it, but that's a different story. So here's George without the lighting. He kind of looks very snake-like. He has these wounds and like grenade shrapnel more like in him. Dylan did a pretty good job with this. Like, his feet are all, you know, bloodied and scarred. He's got spikes going through his feet and shit. That's pretty awesome. Here in his arms and his elbows. Got one in there, and like kind of his hips there. So let me just do that. And his eyes also glow pretty well. Like, the idea is, even if you can't see him in the dark, and most times you can't actually see most of his features, because later on in the game the maps become brighter and it's a little easier to see. But the idea is, with George, he starts out kind of like the surreal puzzle. And I'll show you the surreal puzzle. Basically, he starts out like this silhouette, like a shadow. And that was the inspiration for this. Was growing up, I used to see shadow people in my dreams, so I figured, you know, I don't know what the hell my dreams are going on about, but that would make for a very cool video game. And usually it was like they would tell jokes, kind of like the ending of Monsters, Inc. Like Mike Wazowski, instead of scaring little kids, he just does stand-up comedy. So, yeah, that's what I decided to kind of put them in as for a bit, and a lot of the lore in this game is kind of like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, so I figured, yeah, you know what? Nah, fuck it. Why not? Plus, in the Christmas season, I also added Krampus. He doesn't act any different, he's just a reskin, but here we are. He's got mottled, kind of textured eyes there. He's got a nose, he got a frowny face. And he got his ears. And he also, the model, this good attention to detail from Dylan, is the top of the model and the head actually does have a few spikes on it. They're very subtle, but that's some pretty nice attention to detail there that he got. He kind of toned down the spikes a little bit, but that's fine, because the idea was they didn't originally have spikes on their head. It's just that's kind of what the model did. So their heads were just more bumpy, if anything. So I told him all about that, and he did a fantastic job. And I also made some normal and specular and ambient occlusion maps for old George here. Now, another thing I've done for optimization's sake is, if you see over by this big eagle statue, the fences and other objects will disappear, but the eagle will remain no matter how far out you are. Now, I've done this, and as you can see over there, a lot of these objects are disappearing. I've done this so that the frame rate tries to keep relatively steady. Now, this is one of the more intensive maps in the game, so when the rogue planet is casting its sun rays and all this other good stuff down, it is going to kind of be a little more intensive, because you've got about 11 or 12 zombies running around at any given time. But when you're kind of in here, the frame rate isn't half bad, so that's kind of where it really matters, I would think. So, that being said, you don't want me to just show you this stuff. I'm going to show you some gameplay, and I think that's going to be pretty cool. So, let me get right here. There we go. And despite my computer being Windows 10, this wallpaper is still Windows 7, because underneath all of the telemetry and other bullshit that Windows likes to add, you and I both know at their core it's just a Windows 7. And arguably it's even just like Windows 2000 or Vista. Windows Vista, one of my favorite operating systems. Unfortunately, though, I can't run most old games on it that I like, so I just make 7 look like Vista, and then Windows 10 look like 7. Or 8, depending on the mood that I am having. And there we go. We're going to do high, and the way the zombies act in here is some of them walk, some of them run, but either way it gets you roughly about 100 frames a second, sometimes 80 to 90 when it dips down. This is also going to be the stock standard sight that these are going to have now. Is it's going to be the hollow sight, so that way when you shoot, recoil is a lot more manageable. Now the sights do affect the recoil. So if I shoot that guy and I shoot to kill, also some of them like to run at me, some like to walk, as you can see. But it makes it a little bit easier to aim for this guy at range. Plus, when Sword actually decides to shoot, works pretty well there too. But as you can see, thanks to this little optimization, I am getting, if I'm not in the middle of the map, I am getting about 80, 70, sometimes FPS when the action gets heated up. And because I'm recording, the frame rate is lower, and that's just because OBS is a broken piece of shit that I don't like using, but as we can see, it's holding pretty steady. I may need to see if they're casting shadows, but otherwise, holding pretty steady. So that's pretty awesome. There's Krampus. And of course, if this was not in God mode, he'd probably kill me, but there you go. He's real. He's gonna get you this Christmas if you don't act nice. As you can see, George here, he looks pretty good with the lighting. Krampus was kind of just thrown in like last minute, but I figured it'd be kind of fun. So, let me go and show you the blueprint for George here. This here is the default target zombie. I'm also going to show you some of the other guns I have. But before that, I'm going to check really quickly to make sure this guy isn't casting shadows, just so I'm not, like, blowing smoke up your ass or something. So, just a second. Okay, he is not casting shadows, so it's just this map being a little iffy. But performance is bound to vary depending upon which map you're in, but yeah. Usually when I am not recording, it tends to be fine. So, over here we've got a big city. Very big. The rogue planet doing its otherworldly stuff. Casting sun rays from the moon. You know, just things like that. And if I take the camera out here, you can see this is kind of just a little trick where it's like you're in the bottom here and the sun and all that, the sun rays coming from the rogue planet are right there, because there's the moon and there's the rogue planet. These two are not the same. There's also rays that go through the city, and as well as that, the backs of the city and the buildings are not rendered, so the frame rate is much higher. Now, this is a trick that was used in Spec Ops: The Line and also Counter-Strike and Left 4 Dead 2. I found it works to pretty good success. So a lot of the stuff that I've been using in this game are mostly tricks roughly from the early Xbox One and late cycle Xbox 360. Just kind of beefed up a bit with some better lighting. You know, beefed up Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 as well as early PlayStation 4. Roughly about 2013, 2014 era tricks, and then the lighting and textures and models are supposed to be kind of like a budget Unreal Engine 4 game from 2017, if I had to probably put it somewhere. So there was that. Let me show you the opposite world. This is my first 3D model. Now, I made it in Blender. I'm going to show you. And I figured because it's my first model, well, you know what? Go big or go home. So I went big. Literally. Here it is. It is an absolutely fucking massive city. And, yeah. It's kind of altered the appearance of this here map, but I would say it was worth it because what it's kind of added into this is just huge fucking scale for this. It's like it's got a big shadow up there in the clouds, and the sun is just barely poking through, and there's the rogue planet and such. Because, you know, one of the biggest things that I wanted to do in the first game but had to get cut due to time is kind of the name of the game. Rogue Planet. But what ended up happening with Rogue Planet 1 was it was kind of just a setup story for what would eventually happen in Rogue Planet 2. And I didn't want to do that sequel bait type stuff, but fuck it, I ran out of time. Ran out of time and completely pushed the engine, the Game Guru engine, to the absolute maximum and totally broke it. So development could no longer continue on that simply due to it being busted beyond repair. I literally pushed Game Guru to its max, so there was no other way to make new levels. Hell, I couldn't even open the editor anymore. So yeah, I couldn't even install it. I couldn't even reinstall it. I think I literally broke Game Guru on a system-wide level. So I just gave up at that point. And I think it was just for every fucking computer I put it into. Like, I could not get back into it, so that really sucked. But there's another thing I've actually put in here. I wanted to show you. This is the Purgatory poem, or kind of the Purgatory, I don't know, laments with the YouTube channel. They don't speak in here, but this is a comment that I had made with a kind of cryptic poem of sorts before I was gonna do another channel called Three of Spades Purgatory, but I just kind of decided against it because I kept getting people who said they actually did want to watch the main channel now. So since they wanted to actually watch the main channel now and they showed up only as soon as I was about to give up, well, okay. And yeah, I've had a small but loyal crowd of people who come to watch what I make, so that's awesome. And in the spirit of Metal Gear Solid 5 references, I also added a little Easter egg here. Now do you remember who you are? What you were meant to do? And, because Venom Snake's hand gets cut off, well, you know, you gotta reach for the old Famicom, or in this case, the Game Station, because we do not have any licenses for Nintendo products. Rogue Planet 2 is in no way, shape, or form affiliated with Nintendo. Nintendo, please do not fucking kill me. Thank you. So anyway, yeah, there we are. We got this other map. It's kind of like Inception a bit. Big cities, and I mean, I've seen other people like, you know, Ariana Grande or Doctor Strange or other big companies do this. So it's like, far as I could tell, even like indie games do this. Like Pixel Gun did it once, I think. And I've just seen this shit like every year. I'm like, okay, if these guys didn't, far as I could tell, they didn't have any troubles with that. I mean, fuck it, right? Might as well go do some fun shit. Big abstract cities. I don't think it's illegal to have upside down cities. This game is not affiliated with Inception either, so Christopher Nolan, don't sue me for copyright infringement. This is not infringing on intellectual property. And Marvel also, don't kill me. So you get the gist. It could have been fucking anyone. But anyway, here's the model. Made this in Blender. My friend Dylan, he made the gradient kind of shadow here, so that way it kind of looks like there's, you know, darkness there on the ground, when in all actuality there isn't anything. It's just so we wouldn't have to texture or model any streets. So this is just two planes and a bunch of rectangles, and you know, it's a simple trick, but usually the simplest tricks look the nicest, so I decided to use it. And there you go. Plus, of course, it gets, deselect that real quick. Plus, of course, it gets like 100 frames a second or something, like 80 frames here, so pretty good. Let me hop out of this. I'm going to show you unlit. I'm going to go to that, and then I'm also going to, nope, not going to do that. I'm going to disable the real-time override, turn that off, turn off show stats, and then I'm also going to put in barrel, explosive, because I bet you'd like to see something blow up, and I would too. So I'm going to put explosives in here. I'm going to save this, and then I'm going to show you the explosive barrels in the big world here that I've made, the opposite world, with the whole rogue planet, the big Illuminati city. Because this is like some abstract Windows 8, early 2010s um, type of shit. So I figured I'd have some fun. Like, if we're gonna have all of these games that'll do weird, abstract, dream, magical world stuff, it's like, can you at least bother to have a little bit of fun? Can you have some features? Hey, what would the army do if they got fucking put into this? Oh, well, we don't care about doing any of that, despite letting you play as a girl who has guns and does all of the same shit that an army man would do. Okay. So you do care about it, you just don't want to have a man in charge. Yep. Don't believe me? Oh, well, they won't hire men. They said so on Twitter. Well, no problem with me. I'll just make my own game. Boom. And there's an animation and a sound effect and everything, so... yeah, good luck getting that in a new game. They wouldn't even give you a shitty one like I'd do. But hey, pretty cool, right? And George and his boys, they come to try and kill the spear and the hammer. And they do ragdoll. And they can die. And they go for him, see? The horde goes and fucking gangs up on him. Hey, zombies, over here. Or not. Nah, they're very set in stone on that guy. I'm just gonna let him have him for lunch. Bye-bye. Oh no, they're gonna get me. Well, they'll get me in the next one. So, there's that. Clean these up here real quick. I'm gonna show you the zombie map. And that's gonna also have the guns in it that I have added. Dylan helped me with the rigging as well. Dylan has been doing some really good shit lately. We've been working together to get this game done. Dylan is a volunteer. He kindly offered his services this Christmas, so he has been really awesome to work with. I'll show you that. Here we go. And the MP40 is not called 9 because of licensing. It's called 9 because it's funny. I don't really think I, have anything against calling it the MP40, which is why I'm calling it now, but I just think it's funny to call it the 9. 9! You're not going to expect that when you fucking buy that shit off the wall for $666. I would do $666.66, but, we'd have to add 6 cents as tax, so it wouldn't quite add up. It'd be more like 72. So I'm just not going to ruin it. 666 it is. So here we are. Now when I'm not recording, I usually get about like 20 frames more. This was running at about 140. Usually about 130, so I'm sure you can test this shit out. It's just you don't have to take my word for it, but couple that with like the menu and all the other stuff you can do. So I've already shown you the Imp 4. I'm going to show you the Stern. Double kill. There we go. The Stern does a pretty mean job of fucking them up. Fuck them up. 360 no scope, 420 blaze it. Just like that. And yeah, you can kick the zombies. They can also go flying. So there's that. I'm also going to head back to the back, but as well as that, I couldn't get the left text with the next wave begins in like 60 seconds working without with an outline, because every time I tried doing that it would crash, so I just made it pink. So as well as that, I have added an outline by request because it was a little hard to see the HUD otherwise. Usually what would happen is if you put your 300 Stern $1,000 there in the light, especially in the white light, you wouldn't be able to see shit. So outline was added. I also added one to the death text, so it looks like it comes in from the shadows. So when you die, it'll be there, and then the white will fade in, almost like, you know, your soul has gone to heaven and the words came from God. Just, you know, just fun stuff like that. Because if you're going to have death and murder and all this other shit be a main theme of your game, like so many games do now, it's like, can you bother to have, like, some fun? Like, was Doom 2016 the only game that bothered to be a little bit silly with, like, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy slapstick humor and its stuff in a mainline AAA video game where you shoot demons with guns? Who gives a fuck why they're evil? They're demons. Just fucking shoot them. You know what I mean? Like, does this guy sound like he's very friendly? You think these guys are friendly? Fuck no. 9! They are not your friends. They are gonna fucking rip you a new one. They are gonna rip you a new asshole and drink your fucking blood laughing. Shoot to kill, because they're absolutely gonna kill you. It's the way it is. That's the way it was when I fucking grew up. I played violent video games where you shoot people and you kill them. Oftentimes with very little or no reason. Like Transformers. Yeah, I think Optimus Prime was like fucking straight up committing an intergalactic jihad with Michael Bay's movies, but nobody really cared because they were fun. So it's like... you know, I think if they can get away with that, and it's a little bit cheesy, who really gives a shit? You know, that shit's rated T for teen. Call of Duty. Little kids play it. They had Nicki Minaj. They had all these Care Bears stuff. They know who their fucking audience is. It's designed for 12-year-olds. So fuck it. You know what? I'll buy it. Let's see if they pay for this game too. I think they should be able to have a working game that actually functions offline, has split screen, has bot support, and all the maps. Not just a few, DICE. Not just a few, EA. Not just a few modes, Activision. All the modes. You know, because it's almost like people want to play this shit later. Later? Who plays games later? Oh, I don't know, dog. Maybe everybody and their dog who's still playing your old Call of Duties because they work offline have bots. And then they can make depressing videos where they say they can't get a girlfriend or they can't pay their fucking taxes. Well, gee, you know, it's almost like there's a whole subgenre of fucking retards on YouTube who do this shit. I don't know, man. People with standards, that's pretty retarded. Oh no. Wait, you actually like playing old video games? Who would want to buy this shit? Says the CEO of PlayStation a month or two before he gets fired. Oh, I don't know, man. Maybe people who play PlayStation games? Who would ever want to buy God of War on the PlayStation 3? Me. What, are you an idiot who likes buying worthless garbage? No, I'm a person who likes buying fun video games. And playing them. If you're not going to make fun games that you'd like for me to buy, then... you kind of have yourself to blame if somebody like myself were to, I don't know, pirate it because you said that it's worthless and you said that it would be better if I did because it's garbage, right? Oh, well, I mean, hey, if you don't want to bother doing that kind of thing, well, I'll make a game where I sell the kind of thing that I enjoyed when you did it, but, you know. If the companies are going to have a rotten attitude about it is the core message of that, right? And they can't really complain. I can't complain. They just opened the market for me. I can do a way fucking better job than they could ever hope to. Because they have so many fucking politics in their damn office that they can't get this shit straight. How many idiots does it take over at EA or Activision to screw in a light bulb? Well, they don't like to be called that. They like to be called a chicken salad sandwich. Or they identify sexually as the professor. Not that they are professor, they just want to be called that. Otherwise, they feel too aroused by men. I did not need to know this, Kotaku. Why did you put this on your front page? This is PlayStation? Concord? Oh, gee, no wonder Bungie's been doing some really bad shit lately. It kind of adds up, but I'm not saying that there's a reason behind these firings. Actually, yes, I am. Fire them all, and you'll have a better set of games. Get rid of them. Helldivers. Shit's mediocre as fuck. The only reason why any of it is halfway good is because they're stealing from Starship Troopers. Fuck Helldivers. Just go back to Doom 2016. You'll find talent there. Plus, the games don't look any different. In fact, arguably, they look a lot better 10 years ago on the same generation of consoles. Hell, I'd say a lot of early Xbox One games look beautiful. But, yeah, they stopped making them like that around 2018 because now they want to put Care Bears and Fortnite stuff in every game. I think when COVID kind of came around, it was the last nail in the coffin. So that sucks. But you know, they've dug their grave. They can stay in it all they like. So another thing I've done: Broken City, Blood Ocean, Camelot, Three Spades, Aquarium, Army Base. What else was it? Guns. There were big buildings. Oh yes, there were big buildings. Let me show you my big buildings. So there was that. There was also Ohio. These are some big buildings that Dylan made that are based off of ones in Columbus, Ohio. He took some Google Maps images, and I kind of did some normal mapping, and we'll clean up for him, and yeah, there you go. It looks really nice in the rain. They got real glowy windows. I think it was also... Nope, not that one. Not that one either. Far buildings. That's correct. So these are the buildings that are in most of the maps now. It's just this big building model. One big model where the textures here are the highest quality, and they get lower and lower the farther back you go. This kind of thing that early Xbox One and late cycle PlayStation 3 games were doing, and late cycle Xbox 360 games were doing, is a lot easier than just fully modeling every single building, adding floors to the insides of them, modeling the backs of them, texturing the backs of them. You could just do what's only necessary to give up like a compelling illusion that this is a real city, right? And you'd have less headache, less work to do, and on top of that, you would have a better looking and performing game for it. I mean, it's not hard to make a building. You don't have to spend too much time making a building, right? The problem I often see with a lot of new games is they will not just do something simple where you just leave this to the imagination with a texture and then like maybe make a really high res texture if you feel like. You could just do like something that's like 4K or, you know, 2K, depending on how big your building is, right? These are like 1024 textures, so it's stuff you would see in the Source engine. And using that kind of technique, I was able to get buildings that looked like, you know, this, right? Let me show you here. And these are not supposed to be this close. I've just kind of put them here for demonstration purposes. But like, even when they are this close, it doesn't really look that bad. Now, if it were not for like me needing to just record the desktop as opposed to, you know, actually doing in-game stuff, the frame rate wouldn't be so janky. In-game, and I have screenshots of this on my Discord server, and I'll have screenshots of them in the YouTube posts, but this stuff runs about 140 frames a second, so optimization is just fine. Plus, you know, stuff fades in and out. The background there, like this bit, you can see back there, all gone. And sorry, frog in my throat there. Anyway, all gone. Stuff fades in and out, keeps the performance up. So when you're playing, the frame rate should be good. I mean, obviously no guarantees, but if you do not want this stuff to pop out as well, let's say that, right? Pops out, disappears to keep the, you know, the frame rate up. If you were all the way over here, you'd never see it. But let's say you did want it, right? Let's say you want that. Well, now you can. You can just set the view distance up to cinematic using the in-game's real-time graphics menu as well. And they're the same thing here. It's just instead of it being called cinematic, I call it wasteful because it kind of is. Like, if you can't see the shit, it's not there. I just don't load it in. Or I do LODs. Like here, the truck has gone down to a lower level of detail. It's really high here. High level detail. Lower poly. Even lower poly. Now it's gone. So there are a few steps it takes before it totally and completely disappears, but yeah, just been polishing up the game a lot, just been working on the shit, and just been scoping out the competition and currently seeing what they're doing and seeing that they're completely dysfunctional as of recent. So hey, if you want to play my game, have a fun time. I'm gonna have a lot of content. I'm gonna see if I can make it run good, and it's gonna try new shit. There's gonna be big ghost elephants, big sharks, big fiery jellyfish, bunch of cool guns, zombie survival, bots, campaign, soldier survival if I can get that working, and some other stuff. But yeah, just been having some fun with that. Thank you very much for watching. This was kind of, this wasn't really scripted. I just kind of had a loose set of like, fucking patch notes. But yeah, there we go. Mostly just been polishing this up and dealing with, being busy for Christmas and hanging out with family, a few holidays, other good stuff, and getting this done bit by bit. But yeah, that ought to do it for now. Next time, if I got it finished, because currently it's not finished, but I am going to have like another map called Far Away, which is this big like Roman temple, like a big building. It's kind of inspired loosely off of like Mayan stuff as well. So like Romans, Mayans, and Viking types of stuff that are all kind of mixed in there. I'll see if I can show that off next time, but right now it's not finished. So right now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Well, we'll say if I can. We'll just say not for now, but if I can get it done. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34. So about 34 maps. Plus variants, plus other things like the Blood Ocean and the Aquarium do need a bit of working on, plus the rescue ones are the main ones, and some are kind of laggy, but they're put in there just because I said I would put them in there, and it's like, I don't feel like the Ubisoft way of doing stuff is right. Like, if it doesn't run well, I'll just put a warning that says, warning, this map does not run well. Make sure you have a good computer. Do you want to proceed? You know what I mean? Just like do something that's like Morrowind even, where it's like caution, using this cheat code will break your save. Do you wish to proceed? Just let me be the judge of if I want to do that. If I want to break my game, let me break my game. If you want to break my game, you should be the judge of if you can break my game, not me. I mean, I am not proud of a lot of the shit I do. I just do this because it's fun. Plus, I also want your money. So, hey, I'm willing to make you a good deal. I am willing to make you a good deal, and I am willing to entertain you. So, anyway, that's enough of that. Have a Merry Christmas, and thank you very much for watching. Three Spades out.